And we are back again. Or should I say we are live again? Should I say we live again? Not alive, we live again. Uh, Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. We have a green market today, and all of a sudden, the Moon Boys. All right. All of a sudden, the Moon Boys are talking about how bullish this market is. I'm seeing price targets of, $150,000 Bitcoin. I'm seeing, post in regards to the altcoin market that this is the beginning of, an altcoin season. I'm seeing a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm here to remind you, I am here to show you what it actually is. I am here to, talk about what is actually going on, what is actually happening. I'm here to talk about the market realistically without any agenda. I am here for you. I'm here for you. So, if you enjoy my content, if you enjoy my live streams, if you enjoy my market update, price analysis, technical analysis, if you enjoy any of the things that I do, hit that like button. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Let's get to 200 subscribers. This is going to be a long live stream. I do have some time. Unless I don't have anybody left, I'm going to keep this going. So, I'm feeling really good today. The market is green. I'm feeling really, really good. I do have some time. So, this is going to be an incredible live stream. Once again, and if I haven't already said it, happy Friday. I hope you guys are having an amazing week, and I do hope that you have some really exciting plans for this weekend. Get away from the screen. Get away from your screen, guys. This market is not, it's not getting away from you. Bitcoin is not getting away from you. Your altcoins are not getting away from you. I promise you, you won't miss much. But once again, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and if you have some altcoins, if you have some projects that you want me to give you my opinion on, put them in the chat. So, I don't want to waste your time, and I want to jump straight to the point, and I want to talk about this market. So, let's get to it. The cryptocurrency market is green today. Bitcoin is at $88,000. Ethereum is back to, $3,000. Solana is up to, $126,000. And I'm seeing a bunch of posts all over social media that this is the beginning of an incredible bull market. All right, the pullback is over. Bitcoin is going to 150,000. Altcoins. This is the beginning of an altcoin season. Let's talk about it. All right. All of a sudden, the market that we all were bearish on is all of a sudden bullish because price is up. Right? Price action from last night, a few hours of price action all of a sudden have reversed. All right, weeks and weeks, or should I say months of a downtrend. Is that how it really works? Is that how it really works? A few hours of positive price action are going to change, months and months of a downtrend. Is that really how it works? That's not how it works. And that's why I'm here for you. Because while the Moon Boys, are, overjoyed looking at this market and talking about how great, the price action is, and talking about how great things are going to be, over the next many days, weeks, months. I'm here to remind you that it takes time. It takes a very long time to change the trend on the higher time frame. It takes a very long time. It doesn't take 4 hours. It doesn't take 6 hours. It takes weeks. It takes days. All right, sometimes months, depending on, what time frame we're talking about. So, let's talk about Bitcoin and then we'll get into the altcoin market. The price of Bitcoin is at $88,000. And all of a sudden, everyone is bullish on BTC. All of a sudden, there's a talk about Bitcoin going to $150,000. Right? So let's talk about this. Is Bitcoin really going to $150,000 when the daily chart looks like this? Or maybe the first question should be, what changed in the last couple hours? Right? What changed? Because yesterday, a few days ago, when we were talking about Bitcoin, we all agreed, at least majority of us, the Bitcoin was in a long-term downtrend. And what we've seen was lower highs and lower lows. And when you have lower highs and lower lows, the price is more likely to continue to go down. So, in the last 6 hours, price action has been positive. Bitcoin goes from $84,000 to $88,000. Is that a reason? Is that enough to reverse this long-term downtrend? If you look at this daily time frame right here, we have a Bitcoin that is trading below its key moving average. I have a Bitcoin that's below the 21 daily moving average. I have a Bitcoin that's below the 50 daily moving average. I have a Bitcoin that is below the 200 daily moving average. This is not what a bullish Bitcoin looks like. A bullish Bitcoin looks like this. A bullish Bitcoin is going to be trading above the 21 daily moving average, above the 50 daily moving average, above the 200 daily moving average. That is what a bullish Bitcoin looks like. This right here. This right here, guys. Not this right here. This is not what a bullish Bitcoin looks like. Not like this. All right? Let's get rid of these moving averages right here. All right? A bullish Bitcoin looks like this. A bullish Bitcoin is going to give you something that looks like this, where price goes up, you get a pullback, you put in a higher low, price goes up again, you get a pullback, you put in a higher low, price goes up again, you get a pullback, and you put in a higher low, and you continue on. A bearish Bitcoin is going to give you something that looks like this. Price goes down, and then you get a rally, and then you get a lower high. Price goes down again, and then you get a pullback, which is a rally. You put in a lower high, price goes down again, and then you get a rally. You put in a lower high again, and you continue on the same trajectory until this changes right here. So if I'm looking at Bitcoin right now at $88,000, do we have a Bitcoin that is doing this, which is bullish? Or do we have a Bitcoin that is doing this, which is bearish. We have a Bitcoin that is doing this right here. And this is exactly where we are right now. So these last 4-6 hours of positive price action doesn't change the trend of this market. It doesn't change the fact that Bitcoin is still bearish. All right? When the chart of Bitcoin looks like this, we can't talk about a new all-time high. We can't talk about going to $150,000 because that is now what sends the price to $150,000. That's not the setup that sends the price of Bitcoin to new all-time highs. Lower lows and lower highs. Lower lows and lower highs. They don't send price to new all-time highs. They don't send price to new all-time highs. Absolutely not, guys. If we go to the weekly, all right, on the weekly time frame, yesterday we talked about the Bitcoin has broken its long-term bullish structure. And we identified the long-term bullish structure by going back to 2023 when Bitcoin was around $26,000, $25,000. And we took those lows, we connected to, all right, this low right here of September 2024. That gave us a nice, trend line. The Bitcoin has respected throughout this bull market, where every significant pullback bounced off the support. But finally, recently when we had a pullback to retest the support was broken. And we said that because the long-term uptrend was broken, this was more likely a confirmation and the beginning of a long-term downtrend. So if a weekly structure has been broken, all right, and when I say weekly, I'm talking about something that takes months and months and months to establish. If that is broken, is 4-6 hours of positive price action going to change a structure that was established for months? I don't think so. All right. I do not think so. If I'm looking at Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, I wouldn't even entertain, all right, the possibilities of a bullish Bitcoin until minimum the price of Bitcoin is back to around $100,000. The price of Bitcoin will have to get above this yellow line right here, guys. And this yellow line is somewhere around $97,000. All right. We are basically talking about a $10,000 to a $12,000 move. I'm not talking about a couple $1,000s where it's a $2,000 move. It's a $4,000 move where Bitcoin goes from $84,000 to $88,000. That is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a very big move where the price of Bitcoin goes from $88,000 to $100,000. All right, that to me will be the only way. All right, the bare minimum. That is the only way where I can entertain, the possibilities. The Bitcoin is probably, back in its bull market. And remember, once you get to around $100,000, now you have a Bitcoin that is above its 50 weekly moving average. Remember, we recently flipped bearish when Bitcoin lost its 50 weekly moving average around $98,000. So if the price of Bitcoin was to regain its 50 weekly moving average, right, then we can have a conversation that maybe What we got was a fake out, and Bitcoin is once again back in its bull market. But we're not there yet. All right. So I want to make sure none of you guys who's consuming my content is looking at the current price action and thinking that this is the beginning of, some sort of a bull market. This is the beginning of, a $150,000 Bitcoin, or this is the beginning of, some sort of, a long-term sustainable price action. It takes time, guys. It could be, but so far, more work is needed. All right. There need to be, trend-wise, there needs to be more, for Bitcoin to actually go from bearish to bullish. If you think about, our most recent pullback, let me show you what Bitcoin had to do. All right. This was our most recent pullback, the big one right here, guys. And it took us about, going from February, sometimes late February, until sometimes early April, for Bitcoin to establish a bullish structure. And then we didn't get the breakout until sometimes towards the last week of April, guys, where we finally, when we finally broke out, look, the structure was being established right here. We finally got the breakout right here. All right, broke above $88,000. I don't know how many of you guys are watching my channel, when Bitcoin broke above $88,000, but we became bullish on BTC, guys. Right? When Bitcoin broke above $88,000, at the time we said, hey, the downtrend is finally over. This is a big confirmation. And right now, we're looking at a Bitcoin that is going back to its all-time high. And that's exactly what we got. We got a Bitcoin that went from $74,000 to all-time highs of $126,000. But the confirmation came in when Bitcoin broke above $88,000. And let me be very clear right here, guys. Long as the chart of Bitcoin looks like this on the daily, there's absolutely nothing to be excited about. If I put a trend line right here, all right, look, resistance. Bitcoin is right now facing resistance again. So, in my opinion, you don't have anything to be excited about long as the price of Bitcoin is below $94,000. Like there is, chat, I'm telling you right now, as long as the price of Bitcoin is below this lower high right here, all right, as long as we're below this right here, there's nothing for you to be excited about. Now, let's say Bitcoin, climbs out of this downtrend right here. Let's say we break to the other side of this yellow line and then we, manage to get above $94,000. Okay. Then we can start talking about how Bitcoin could potentially go back into, the $100,000 range. But as far as I'm concerned, this is not bullish right here. All right. And let's see how this is, if this is actually going to last. Remember, recently, we went from $84,000 or $85,000 up to $90,000. Ended up coming down to $84,000. All right. Recently, guys, we hit $90,000. We are $88,000, not even a $90,000. And some of you guys, or a bunch of influencers out there, or maybe not influencers, people are losing their minds. It's time to jump in. The bull market is back. $150,000 Bitcoin. All coins are going to the moon, bro. Slow it down, guys. Slow it down. Look at the chart. Look at the trend of this market. On the weekly, what is there to be bullish about? I mean, honestly, let's be honest, guys. What's bullish about this? What is it? Is it the green weekly candle we have right here? Yo, chat, look at this. Look at this weekly candle right here. I want you guys to take a look at this. Look. Is this bullish right here, guys? Look, this is 7 days of price action, guys. Look, over the last 7 days, what have we accomplished? Absolutely nothing. All right? This is what Bitcoin's weekly is looking like. All right? Price went from 88,000, We went up to around 90,000. We came all the way down to $84,000. We back at 88,000. We back exactly where we closed last week. What's bullish about this? I mean, honestly, guys, what is bullish about this? If we get something like this, all right, where you get a clear breakout, if we get something like that, okay, let's talk about how bullish this market is. But until then, relax. Just relax, all right? Just relax. Let's allow the market to guide us. Just relax, man. Not a reason to be in a rush right now. This is not a Bitcoin that is going anywhere. It's not getting away from you. Even if we end up turning bullish long term, you still got time. You have time right here. Even if you would have, missed in the $70,000 range, well, you had time right here to get in the $80,000 range, low $90,000. $126,000 a couple weeks after. So even if I'm wrong and we're still in a bull market and this is, turning out to be bullish, you have time. Patience. This is what I'm preaching right now. All right? Be patient. There's no need to be in a rush. And remember, we talked about a bear market rally. All right? These bear market rallies they're going to cause you trouble. If you don't have a plan, if you're not planning, you are going to get caught up in these bear market rallies, guys, because that's exactly what they do. I'm telling you right now, you need to be careful. Just like those of you who were aggressively accumulating altcoins, during those bear market rallies, you got caught up. But look at your favorite altcoins right now. Bam. Down 60% from your entry. I'm going to show you tons of examples. But this is not an opinion. This is a fact right here. So I want to make sure any of you guys who's consuming my content, any of you guys who's watching my live streams, any of you guys who's watching my Bitcoin breakdown, Bitcoin price analysis, I want to make sure that you don't get caught up in the hype. I want to make sure you look at the chart. I want to make sure you don't have any agenda. And what I mean by agenda, guys, look, you may have a position and you just want the price to go up. But the market doesn't care about that. Right? The market doesn't care whether you have a position or you don't have a position. The market is going to market. That's exactly what the market is going to do, guys. The market is going to be the market. The market is going to go up. The market is going to go down. The market is going to go sideways. It doesn't care about any of us. So having an agenda is not going to help you. All right? Look at the market exactly as it is. Right? Just because you have a position, don't force it. Don't try to be bullish because you have a position. That is not helpful. Right? If you have a position, if you have an agenda, if you have your own bias, if you want price to go up, just because you have a position, that is the quickest way to lose money in this market. Look at Bitcoin. Look at this weekly. Look at this daily. Do you really see a reason to think this is a Bitcoin that is about to rip, back to its all-time high? Okay, maybe you might look this and you might think to yourself, okay, this looks like, we are trying to establish, some sort of a low. This looks like Bitcoin is putting in some higher lows on the daily. Price is not going down, so this is looking pretty good. I want to get into a position, but let me remind you, that's not good enough. You need a confirmation. You need a breakout. Price, at least break to the other side of this yellow line. This yellow line that's been acting as a resistance since, look, you got to go back from October 25th, guys. October 27th. Right? You got to go back to October 27. You take this top right here. You connect it to this right here. It gives us a beautiful trend line. So this is a clear resistance. All right. And every time we come towards this yellow line, the expectation should be that we are going to get rejected until we are proven otherwise. Right. Until you are proven otherwise, the expectation should be that Bitcoin is going to get rejected. So be patient. And remember, even if we just break out, it doesn't mean, the confirmation is in. In my opinion, the confirmation is in if we take out the most recent daily lower high. We got to break the structure. So if you go back, I'll show you breaking the structure, what it looks like. Look, right here, you have these lower highs. Right here, you have these lower highs right here. Look, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Finally, you get a breakout. Even right here, guys, I was still not bullish. Why was that? Because this could have ended up as another lower high. But the moment we broke above this lower high right here, which was $88,000, I became extremely bullish on BTC. All right. The moment we got above this $88,000 resistance, this is when I became bullish on Bitcoin. And once again, look, very hard for me to prove it to you guys because a bunch of those videos were deleted. All right. But this is when I became bullish because now the structure is broken. All right. The structure where Bitcoin has been putting in lower lows, lower highs is finally broken. So that's exactly what you want to see. All right. If you come right here, okay, if Bitcoin breaks to the other side of this yellow line, okay, something good, something positive. But what we want to see is Bitcoin getting above $94,000. The moment you see something like that, now it's time to be bullish. Now it's time to start thinking about there's a chance of going back above $100,000. There's a chance of going back to, all-time highs, even though, work is needed. More work is needed, of course. But that is a conversation for a different day. What I want to focus on is the last 4 hours positive price action. Bitcoin goes from $84,000 to $88,000 is cool. It's a cool little move. It's not bull market is back. Relax, guys. Bear market rallies. Nothing goes down in a straight line. We talked about this. Look, from $126,000 down to $80,000, it was never a straight line. All right? We had a nice move right here. From $103,000 to $116,000. That's a beautiful move right there. We had another move right here from $99,000 to $107,000. All right. We had another move right here from $109,000 to $115,000. Never, ever are you going to see a straight line. So I'm not expecting different. All right. I'm not expecting Bitcoin to go down to 74,000 without trying to pull up a fight first. But I'm going to tell you right now, liquidations are coming. Just give it a few hours, guys. $60 million has been liquidated in the cryptocurrency market in the last hour. That is going to be the breaking news. Just give it a couple hours. Give it a couple days maybe. All right? Maybe I'm wrong, okay? But it's cool. All right? This is exactly the business I'm in. When you do technical analysis, you are going to be right. You are going to be wrong. It's part of the game. So, wanted to make sure, none of you guys get tricked by the current price action. Despite this nice little $4,000 move, nothing has changed. If you watched yesterday's live stream, I broke down to you exactly what has happened to the Bitcoin structure, and I'm talking about a long-term structure. When you zoom out and you go to the weekly, when the weekly is in a downtrend, when the monthly is in a downtrend, it takes a very long time to reverse the trend, guys. When Bitcoin was bullish and the trend was up, all right, we were trending up for 3 years now, almost 3 years, guys. All right. Since December of 2022, or should I say January 2023, Bitcoin has been trending up. Every single pullback has tried to break the trend. None of them was successful until the most recent one. This is the one that has finally broken the long-term bullish structure or the long-term uptrend. So because of that, my expectation is that we are in a long-term downtrend, and none of these rallies is going to break this long-term downtrend until, months from now, 6, 12 months from now. It could be longer. Who knows? So that is my update on Bitcoin. Let me know in the chat what your thoughts are on BTC, guys. I know I was kind of ranting and, probably said more than I should have. But I care about you guys. I love you guys. And I want to make sure I'm giving you the right information. Not the information because I want you to think the market is going up so you can hit the like, or you can come back the next day and watch, the next video. No, I want you to know exactly what's going on in this market. Okay? So when you come back, you say, hey, that guy that I was watching, he might have been wrong, but at least he was analyzing the market. Excuse me. At least he was analyzing the market as it is. So appreciate you guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and let's keep going. Chat, how are we doing today? Once again, I have some time today, unless I get tired, but I'm here. I do want to continue the conversation we had yesterday, and I do want to talk about, the current price action, because it's not just crypto that's bullish today. The stock market is on fire, guys. It's not just crypto. Look at the stock market. My entire watch list is green. It's not just crypto. Look at the equity market. Isn't that right? I'm sure the housing market is green today. Okay? I'm sure the housing market is green today. Holy smoke. All right, it's not just crypto, man. Look, Rivian. This is a trade that we are currently in my Discord. We got in around $17. And we are aiming towards, a nice 40% move, 60% move. I'm looking at $24, $28. So if any of you guys want to join my Discord, guys, look, I'm going to put a link in the chat. If any of you guys want to join my Discord, I'm posting a bunch of, stock trades, because the cryptocurrency market is just terrible. Cryptocurrency market is terrible. So we're not just going to sit around and, do nothing. We're going to participate one way or another. All right. And right now, some pretty positive action in the stock market. If you want to join my Discord, guys, hit the link. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Just give me a second. Let me see. Let me put a link in the chat. Send me a DM. If you want to join the send me a DM if you want to join my Discord. I'm going to pin this. Here we go, right there. Yes, sir. Let's keep this going. I want to keep the conversation going. Hopefully you guys can hear me clear. I want to make sure we don't have any technical difficulties. I was playing with the settings earlier today, but I'm not sure if you guys are having a hard time or not. How many people do we have on the live? I should have posted this on X. More people would have joined me. Let me actually post this on X, guys. Give me a second, chat. Let me post this on X. I want more of you guys to join. See if we can get more viewers. Yes, sir, right there. Yep. I'm going to post this on X. Appreciate you guys for joining. Once again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. What else? If you have an old coin and you would like me to analyze it, put them in the chat, guys. Just give me a second. Let's see if we can get more. If we can get more people to tune in. Once again, see if we can get more people to tune in. Sure, I'm live right now. Tune in. This pump is not what you think it is. Don't get tricked. There we go. So, yeah, let's keep it going, right? Let's keep it going, chat. It's a beautiful live stream right here. Once again, we are in the stock market. This is a beautiful weekly close. Rivian. We do have a position from exactly right here, guys, around $17 and, maybe like 50 cents. This position is currently up about, maybe 20%, maybe 30%. So I'm very proud. I'm very proud of what we are, doing right now. I'm proud of, not just waiting and not just, looking at this forever crashing cryptocurrency market. We are very active. We are very, very active, guys. Not just in the cryptocurrency market, but, the stock market looks lovely, and we want to make sure we take advantage of, every market. So let's get back to crypto. Once again, the cryptocurrency market is up today. And, if you watched my live streams yesterday, if you watched my update on crypto, you are probably thinking you were wrong. You're probably thinking I was wrong because I talked about how bearish the market is. But, 4-6 hours later, the market is green. So have I changed my mind? Did I change my mind? Am I now bullish on this market? Is this the beginning of a long-term, bullish trend? Are we going to see, long-term sustainable price action, where price is going up? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I'm telling you right now, right, if you don't know what you are doing, if you don't know technical analysis, if you are learning technical analysis, if you are coming into this market, days like this, moments like this are your worst enemies because you are going to look at this market. Every single altcoin is green today, and you're going to think, surely this is the beginning of something. I am missing something, and I need to get into something before it's too late. That is what you're thinking. That is what you are thinking about if you are new to this market. But I'm here to save you. And I'm here to tell you this is not the beginning of a new bull market. This is not the beginning of some, bullish, sustainable price action. This is not that. This is what we call a day cap bounce. This is what we call a relief rally. So I'm going to take my time and I'm going to analyze a bunch of these altcoins, and I'm going to show you multiple examples. I'm going to show you exactly what we are experiencing and why, unless you are short-term trading the current price action, you should stay away from this market. So let's get to it. All right, let's jump straight to it. So the altcoin market is having what we call a relief rally. This is what we call a relief rally, is what we call a day cap bounce, is what we call a pullback, whatever the name that you call it, guys. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is not going to be a sustainable price action. So I'm not expecting these altcoins to go on this incredible bullish price action for multiple weeks and potentially multiple months. Absolutely not. And I'm going to give you a reminder. And I've said this in the past, and I'm going to say it again. This is the worst thing that can happen to your altcoin. The altcoin that you have in your portfolio that's already down about 50%, the worst thing that can happen is exactly this, guys. Because this is going to refuel, this is going to be the reason your altcoin is going to drop another 50%. All right. This right here, this current price action is going to be the reason the altcoin that you have in your portfolio that's already down 60, 50%. This is going to be the reason that altcoin is going to drop another 50%. Because if you look at an altcoin like Metis, if you look at Metis on the monthly time frame, this is an altcoin that is down. I mean, look, do we even have to go from the top? If you go from the top of $150 down to the bottom, this is an altcoin that's down about 96%. But let me tell you, we've had multiple 80% inside of this 96% drop or crash. All right. And we had a first one right here. Look, sometimes in March of 2024, after price has gone from $150 to $50, we had a relief rally. And price went from $50 to $84. So if we go to the weekly, much more clear right here. If you go to the daily, even more clear right here, guys. From $50 to $80, that was a 60% move. But after going up 60%, we had a 70% crash. All right. Remember, price went up 60%. After going up 60%, we go down 70%. We don't go down another 70% unless we get a 60% recovery. So the worst thing that can happen to your altcoin, the one that's already down 50%, is exactly what we have today, guys. Right? This green day, you look at your altcoin, is up 10 or 20% today. That is one of the worst things that can happen to your altcoin, because that is going to be the reason it goes down another 50%. All right? I'll show you another example, maybe multiple examples with Metis. After going down 70%, we had another relief rally. The price of Metis goes up 165%. Remember, I've told you guys in the past that these bear market rallies are going to rip your face off. They are going to be so big. Some of them are going to be so big to the point where you convince yourself that this is the beginning of the greatest altcoin market. This is the beginning of the greatest altcoin season. That's what I meant to say. Only to be very disappointed, because after Metis goes up 165%, we went down 83%. All right? We got rid of the entire 160% rally. Retrace the entire move. Not only retrace the entire move, the price goes lower. I'll show you another example. After price went down 83%, we had another bear market rally or another relief rally. Price goes up another 165%. Chat, do you see the consistent right here? All right. After going up another 160%, we ended up, all right, let me show you this. We ended up down another 80%. So, I'm telling you right now that Metis could potentially go up another 50%, maybe 100%, maybe 200%. But after going up 200% or whatever percentage that we end up going up, the next drop is going to be bigger. So the reason your altcoin is going to go down another 50% is because of days like this. All right. Nothing goes down in a straight line. There is going to be times when the market or the asset that is bearish goes up, not going up in terms of, going from bearish to bullish long term, but it's a moment. It's a relief rally. It's a dead cat bounce. All right. After that, you go down again. So I can show you guys multiple examples. All right. I can show you multiple examples across this market where inside of a long-term downtrend, there is multiple huge bear market rallies or relief rallies, but that is exactly the worst thing that can happen to your altcoin. Now, the best thing is that you can trade these rallies, but you just gotta make sure you get out as quickly as you can. If you have a position and you out 50%, get out, man. You can't time the top. You don't know if the top is 200%. You don't know if the top is 100%. You up 50%, it's a nice trade. Get out. Take your profits. Stay on the sideline unless you are shorting it. If you are shorting the project, okay, get in a position and wait for your profit, for your profit targets. Today's price action has not changed the overall trend of this market. If I'm looking at XRP right here, guys, I'm bearish on XRP, extremely bearish on XRP. Has anything changed in XRP because today price is up 5% because XRP is back at $1.90? Has anything changed? Absolutely not. What changed? Nothing. If you put a trend line right here, all right, I don't know if we want to start from there and we go down like this. Look, XRP, even if we go up to $2.30 something cents, we are still in a long-term downtrend. And the worst thing that can happen right now to XRP, guys, is a move like this. If XRP goes up 30%, you better look, that will be your opportunity to exit the position that you have that is already down. Because after this, I'm expecting the price of XRP, look, it won't be a straight line. I continue to remind you guys that it won't be a straight line, and I don't want any of you guys to come back, 2 weeks from now and say, hey, we're not in the 30, 75 cents range. No. It's going to take some time. But anyways, after this 30% rally, I'm expecting this right here, guys. Look, this is minimum. This is a 70% crash. Minimum. This is the bare minimum. I'm not even talking about, what I really, really think. But it doesn't matter what I think, right? I'm just looking at the chart. Because I don't want to insert my own opinion. Like, my opinion doesn't matter. Market doesn't care about me. Market doesn't care about you. Market is going to be exactly what it's going to be. And nobody knows, guys. Price will go up, down, sideways. Trade it. Don't love it. Take your profits and move on. This is the reality of this market. What we have today has not changed anything. If you think what we have today has changed something, please do me a favor. Zoom out, go to the weekly, go to the monthly. All right, see if anything has changed. You tell me that the market has been damaged for months, and a few hours of positive price action is going to fix all the damage that was built up for the last couple months. Like, does that really make sense to you? Is that logic? Be careful who you listen to. Be careful who you listen to, especially when money is involved. All right? A beautiful day in the market today. I don't even know how beautiful this is. To me, this is a disaster. Because I know exactly what's coming. And even worse, it's not really worse, right? We said that there is going to be a bear market rally. And I said that the hardest thing is that I don't know exactly when this bear market rally is going to take place. Maybe this is the beginning of the bear market rally, but it doesn't change my overall bigger picture. I don't care how big or how long the rally is going to last. I don't care if it's a week. I don't care if it's months. I don't think it's months. Months, 3, 6. No, I don't think anything like that is going to happen. Weeks probably, because if we're looking at price going back to retest, those weekly EMAs. If I'm looking at XRP, for example, and I'm looking at price going back to retest, $2.30 something, 21 weekly moving average. That could potentially take some time. And if I'm looking at, if I'm looking at Solana, right? If I'm looking at Solana and Solana is going back to retest, it's 21.50 moving average around $160, $150, whatever. That could potentially take some time, but nothing more than that. I don't think there's more to it. So, we've talked about there is going to be a bear market rally. And again, the hardest thing is, when is this bear market rally going to take place? Like, that is $1 million question. And because nobody knows, it's one of those things where, you spend a lot of time analyzing the market and, it's like you're flip-flopping in the short term. But as long as you have your thesis, your bigger picture thesis, and you stick to it, I think that's what matters at the end of the day. If your bigger picture thesis is, I'm bullish, I'm expecting price to go up, that's great. If it's, I'm bearish, I'm expecting price to go down, that is great. What happens in between, really doesn't matter, because it's very hard to predict what the market is going to do on a daily basis and even on the weekly basis. Like, it's very, very hard. But once you have, your thesis, your bigger picture, once you have once you have a bigger trend, it's a lot easier, right? It's a lot easier to form an opinion. And that is where I am. And my thesis long term is that the market is bearish. I don't care what price will do in the short term. We are going down. All right. Stay away from meme coins. I tell you right now, stay away from meme coins. Stay away from the trenches. This is not a time to be in the trenches. Absolutely not, guys. Look, do research, but don't do more than you should. Somebody's asking me to analyze Pippin. So Pippin. Let's see, what is that? God, excuse me. Oh my gosh! Wow. Yeah, this one is bullish. Now, I'm not saying get in right now. Perfect time to get in would have been down here. This one is bullish. It's bullish in terms of the trend is up. This is exact. Look, if I'm looking at something like this, I'm the first person to tell you that this is bullish. Now, will I be a buyer right here? Absolutely not. If I go down to the lower time, maybe I look for a reason to be a buyer. Okay, I think right here, I probably jump in, put my stop loss just right below 34 cents. Now, I just don't like it because it's overly, I don't want to say overly extended, but if the weekly looks like this, where are my profits going to come from? To me, that is always the question. If I was looking at this when price was right here, all right, this is where I would have loved to get involved. Somewhere around below 10 cents. But if I'm looking at it right now, the first question I always ask myself is, where are my profits going to come from? Is it when price is in the 60 cents range? Is it when, like, that to me is, question number one. So I like it in terms of, trend is up and price should continue to go up unless the top is actually in. And how do we know if the top is in? Well, if I go down to, let me go down to like the 1 hour. All right, maybe the daily, no, maybe the 4 hour actually. If I'm on the 4 hour right here, look, if price goes below 27 cents, I think that confirms that the top is in. But right now, you can still go back to, if I put a trend line right here, for instance, that's a beautiful trend line. If price breaks above like 40 cents, I think that's a good place to jump in. And then, you're targeting higher targets because, as far as I'm concerned, we should continue to put in higher highs and higher lows. Now, if price goes up and we don't make it above, 45 cents, I think that's a red flag. And that to me says more likely the top is in and this is the beginning of, a pullback. And you'll be looking at, going back to around 12 cents. But, looking like this, I like it. All right. Looking like this, I like it. This is basically the equivalent of, back here around, 18 cents. If this was here, looking at it, this was bullish and, price did go up. So, I would like to see us break out, maybe to around, I think a 40, 41 cent, even, better. The once price goes up, you want to take out 45 cents. If you get rejected anywhere below 45, look, let's say price, tries to go up. Let's say price tries to go up and we don't make it past 45 cents. I think that is a very bad signal. And you are most likely looking at the end of that entire rally and you could be looking at, a long-term downtrend. All right. But yeah, this is, oh my gosh, man. Congratulations to those that got in, somewhere around here. If you got in somewhere around here, you made a lot of money from this project. Because this is like, wow, maybe like a 20x maybe. Less maybe. Let me see. Right here. Yeah, this is a 20x, man. Holy smoke, bro. Crazy. All right, people. Chad, look, we just did an hour. And look, I think I covered pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. I don't think I left. Look, if I left something, I don't think it's much. In terms of the overall trend of this market, you're looking at a bearish market, and it's best to stay away. It's best not to try to be a hero and just embrace what these next months are going to bring to us. And what else can you do? All right, what else can you do? So appreciate you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the live stream. Once again, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, guys. Let's get to 200 subscribers. Yo, I'm trying to get to as many subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time.